People say a lot about our democracy.
It's not over. We're going to expect more.
Some say what they know.
Is it that we deceive ourselves or not willing to discuss our differences?
Others say what they think is right.
The political will to effect that law is what we are lacking.
It takes 3 persons to eat 15 naira bread. I disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Immediately the president won election, he went to Britain. He has not gone to River State. He has not gone to Benue. He has not gone to the country.
Join Kingsley Welenda Wali every Saturday on this station from 11 a.m. to 12.
My name is Kingsley Welenda Wali.
And the program is Democracy in Action on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
I believe in you. Do you believe in me?
Hello, good morning and welcome to Democracy in Action. My name is Kingsley Welenda Wali. And it's been a while. I've been out there looking for fuel, and that's made it almost impossible for me to come to the station to come and run my program. But thank God that things are improving, and we hope that they can only get better as we approach the Christmas. And it's very important that we really got. It's really sad that Nigerians are having to go through all of these issues and approaching the festivities. That's the Christmas period, and I don't know how we're going to cope if there's no fuel. Of course, the fact that there's no money is legendary, so there's no need beating that path any longer. But we hope that we'll have reason to celebrate our Christmas. And some think that this issue of fuel or even the issue of money should occupy the table or the plate of our leaders, and that's why most of them are having issues with the frequent trips of our president. People have come to interpret it in different manners, more like, but unfortunately I don't think that but my personal view, I think that's an issue. But a lot of Nigerians are grumbling, and that's why I'm here this morning to discuss the relationship between the president's frequent trips and the state of affairs in our country. Are we better off him sitting down here in Nigeria coordinating things, or him going out there to go and tell the world that we have issues that they need to attend to, and probably in the course of that try to attract foreign investment, the legendary FDI. So this morning, we expect that the callers should let's have their views on that. It's a program this morning, a bit of intrusion from the traditional people or the commentators here, but essentially it's your business this morning. So we expect you to call and be part of the discussion by calling 0815 5951 951, 0815 5951 951, 0817 0000951, 0817 0000951, 0810 9510 951, 08109510 or you can send your text messages to 0701 933 9962, 0701 933 9962. Kelechi.
Yes.
Our president has been about the place, and our people are grumbling. Is there a direct relationship between the president sitting in the office and performing his official functions as the president? Is it not possible in this age and time, where things are properly done, for the president to run the country for wherever? It doesn't need to sit down to inspire any kind of situation. Sorry, Kelechi is our usual guest in the house here. I met you, Kelechi Justin. I took him for granted that you probably know him already, so I just addressed him as Kelechi. Kelechi, you're welcome to Democracy in Action this morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Wali.
Yeah. What's your take?
Firstly, I want to state that I wish to state that very clearly that this President Muhammadu Buhari, any other president, and every other president, of the Republic of Nigeria, is entitled to these trips. As president, they need to reach out to the Committee of Nations to come and support our fight against Boko Haram and also help revive the economy. But what I think like the challenge here is that it's been 6 months and it doesn't look like we've started walking the path to retrieving our economy or taking back our nation. Boko Haram has become more, they have come bolder, they just kill the people, the rich white Muslims who they have in their possession. They have over 20 of them yesterday or the day before. We're in an energy crisis, not just the fuel issue, but the electricity thing too has dropped, and they're saying there has been a lot of sabotage. People are losing jobs, just over 1 million to 1.5 million jobs have been lost. People are going that so much insecurity in the Niger Delta. People are being kidnapped every other day in the Niger Delta here. So, in the face of all of this, citizens do not expect that our president would need to attend every other international function himself. If they have a vice president, unfortunately for us, there's a cabinet now, there's a foreign minister and all that. So he's sitting back here, inspires people. It shows that he's also empathic. He feels what the Nigerian people feel, and he's trying to address issues. So the other thing, we've not seen a direct benefit from these trips. He's gone to America, he's gone to France, he's gone to that. We've not seen the Marines in Nigeria. We've not seen any kind of technical or financial support from them. So people are just worried. People are just frustrated that what is the need for these countries when there is so much to be done at home? I think that's the challenge.
Okay, let's look at it this way, Kelechi. Let's look at it this way, Kelechi. It's either we don't believe the government, or the government actually is lying to us, because when the president went to the United States and came back, we were told of some figures that were gained, some grants that were made, and now you're saying that we've not had any benefits from all of these trips. Coupled with the fact that I think some of these trips, some of these events, for example, the Commonwealth Summit that's attended, it's a conference of the heads of government. When they went to, I think Paris too, it was on security, and the major issue to be discussed, it's Boko Haram. When they went to Iran, it had to do with leaders to come and discuss gas especially, and we'll be talking about how to develop our gas industry. So are we being fair when we say that these are frivolous trips? Because I wouldn't know why, it might sound somehow, Queen Elizabeth's attending an event and will send a minister, or the other president attending the gas conference in Tehran, will send maybe some lower staff diplomat and all of those. Yes, but we say climate change. Somebody said to me this morning, you're talking about climate change. But again, you look at it in the long run, the climate change has a direct relationship with how we live and what we feed, because if the environment is affected negatively, it's not going to affect agriculture. So all of these events actually need the president's attention. Don't you think so?
I just think that the issue on the table is not that of frivolity. We have been saying these trips are frivolous, will be being very uncharitable and painting is being antagonistic or something. But we're saying, if you've signed treaties and all that with America, France and all that, it only becomes a treaty when it reflects on the lives of your citizens. People need to feel these things to know that these trips have attracted this
some level of benefit.
Yes, but so far,
nothing that you're saying.
Nothing is done. You can't tell that to the woman in the market. You can't tell that to your cousin or your relative.
You're talking about trickle-down effect now.
Yes, people need to feel that when your president remains in the country. I will say in other countries where similar incidents like the Kanu bombing and the other bombing happened, they change the course of their trip. They say, look, come back. There is no, for me, I don't think that there's any kind of summit that the vice president cannot attend. Don't also forget that Nigerians did not vote party per se. They actually voted President Muhammadu Buhari to come and lead this country, out of, the woods. So his presence in the country inspires more, hope.
Okay, thank you.
And gives people the confidence that yes, there's a government and
that the government is working.
Doing something, yes.
So it doesn't matter if the government is really working. We want to be seeing the government to be working, not just working.
Yes, they need to communicate their challenges to this government. They're not engaging.
Okay, that's another thing together.
When they try to do, they somewhat try to be economical with the truth. There's no fear in feeling. There's no fear in having challenges. It's not a problem. In all situations, governments have challenges, but you need to communicate those challenges, to your people and have a proper conversation about.
Okay, Obina.
Yeah.
I don't need to introduce you.
No,
Okay, fine. Kelechi just made some points here. What I'm taking away with is he says the government is not communicating. Now, is it that the government is not getting it right, or that the government is not communicating? Because, for example, I think that it's the responsibility of the media managers of the president to let Nigerian people know why the president has to travel. Because when he just come and announce to us, the president is traveling to Malta, he's traveling to Paris, he's traveling to Germany, he's traveling to this place or that place, without really telling us what the benefits, do you understand, the takeaways, what they are for us. So is it a matter, as a media person, do you think it's the fact that the president doesn't need to go anywhere, or that they're not communicating? Because that's a very solid point, I think, in my thinking, that it's just raised.
Well, I think it's two-sided. First of all, the government is not getting it right. Let's begin with... You
need to be specific here now.
Okay, now let's look at the issue of the fuel crisis. Let's start with that.
Okay.
The previous administration, when there was a similar, or not this big fuel crisis, that was in 2012. The Seventh Assembly then looked inwards and tried to figure out a way to deal with the issue. Right? They got the PPMC, the PPPRA, all of the heads of these government parastatals to appear before them and tell them why there was a scarcity and how they intend to.
They just did that.
Now, and they also invited the then Minister of Petroleum, all right, and the Minister of Petroleum appeared, okay, and gave a reason and all. And what we're seeing now in this dispensation, now the Minister of Petroleum was invited. There was no Minister of Petroleum to be invited to start with because he was not in the country. All right, and we'll now move to the second part, which is communication. Now, communication, as I understand...
What you're saying is that at the peak of the energy crisis, there was no Minister of Petroleum to speak to us and be seen to be making sure that this problem is solved.
Or telling us how it's going to be solved. Okay, now, let's move to the issue of communication now. You talked about the media managers. I think that if the media managers were communicated to, they will be able to be communicated, they will be able to communicate with the people. Now, I can tell you something, that I am traveling, all right, and because maybe I understand leadership to be rulership, I tell you that I am traveling to Lagos, and I tell you I'm going to meet with Mr. A in Lagos, and I don't tell you the details of my meeting with Mr. A. It is what I tell you that you will tell people.
Is it not given that if the president is traveling for a specific conference, say for example the gas summit in Tehran, Iran, does he need to educate his media advisors for them to know the importance of that event? Shouldn't they go there? Shouldn't be once even going out there to tell the president how he should speak in public?
Yeah, I understand that, but also bear in mind that these people are mediums. They shouldn't have a mind of their own. So if they must speak the words of the president, it has to come, it has to be taken to the bank that this is exactly what the president said.
My take is that most times when the president is in discussions with people, the SA media is always in that meeting. So what you see is somebody who understands what the discussions are, not just one press boy. They say go announce. He is part of the policy discussions. So does he need to be told what the benefit of the gas summit is for him to go there and tell the Nigerian people? They all have is somebody who's going to announce that the president is traveling. Okay, now if that is the case, okay, it truly means that at some point in time, either the president does not really understand that someone within his circle, talking about the SA now, really doesn't get the job, and in other words, is incompetent on delivering his full responsibility. Because I think that Nigerian people should not be left in the dark, because right now Nigerians don't know what is happening. They don't know how they're going to get out of this crisis, and we are seeing the president as someone who doesn't really care because of that gap, that communication gap. So we are being told things. We have been announced.
We have been announced to, but we're not duly. We don't get.
We have not been informed.
Because communication is supposed to be information passing from one point to another, well understood.
Because if it's not understood, there's no information.
There's no communication. It's just maybe information moving from one point to another.
Let me just chip in. Thanks for really doing a good job on this. The other thing is this: they came back from Iran. What did they tell us? Nothing.
The times they told us nothing. They told us the president is traveling to Paris. That's something.
I think the only thing they told us, the only thing they told us, even from Iran.
Sarcastic.
We're
not talking about going to Paris. We're talking about.
No, they said they didn't tell us anything. They came back and told us it's going to Malta. No, they came back and told us it's going to Malta next and it's going to Paris next. So it boils down to the fact that somebody is not doing his job. Is it the president? Kelechi?
In this case, I would say it's the president, because if the president was supposed to be the one doing and saying all of this, at every point in time, then he didn't need to hire SL media and other media people working with him, either on the new media or the electronic or traditional media. So I think Mr. Femi should up his game. He's a journalist and he has a solid background in terms of journalism, but sometimes you find out that, like Guben Abaditu in the last administration, they could be very good in writing prose and speaking, but when it comes to doing the proper,
when it comes to mass communication,
yes, when it comes to reaching out to people and having, for me, I even want to call it conversation. Well, we're having the kind of square crisis like this. It was only this week that we had what Obina Jones talked about in the last administration, the Senate calling the Minister of Petroleum and members of the PGRA and all that, and NPC to the table, This thing should have happened.
But what is important, what Obina said that I think is instructive is if it's never too late really. But the fact that as at the time the National Assembly called the heads of departments in NNPC to come and explain what was going on, and with the MD both the MD and the Minister for Petroleum in one person was absent.
Yeah.
So it's an issue because a situation where the man who is supposed to be in charge and driving this fuel discussion was nowhere to be heard. All we see is one suit, nice Hollywood to
I also want to point out something very, very critical. Okay, I cited the fuel crisis as one issue. Now let's even move beyond that. Let's go to the issue of the NCC and MTN. Just some 2 days ago, the Minister of Communications came out and said that the fate of MTN lies in the hand of the president.
Can we? I would just advise that.
No, I want to.
I'm sorry. I would think that it would be better off, for the benefit of people who are listening, not to discuss that man.
Okay.
Because that was the man who went to the National Assembly and they asked him about Boko Haram. He said he has a family. Please. So
Okay.
for me, he's just a joker. So let's not talk about him.
I want to just talk about
Because what he said about the president going to take decision, he should have been fired the very next morning.
Yeah. So now we're looking at just
don't discuss him. Let's
go back in time. Previously, when we discussed institution building here,
Yes.
all right, it's beginning to look like the administration really talked about institution building, especially when the president was being sworn. I mean, his inaugural speech, he talked about it, but not much is done or is being done.
Look, I insist. Don't use comments because he has shown himself. Well, you probably say, how did this man come to be prime minister in the first place? So it's been one silly comment after the other.
So I really want to blame the man who employed that man,
yes,
to serve in that office.
Have you seen that man dressed before?
It's funny.
Have you seen him dressed?
It's funny.
Dressed like a clown.
Dressed like a clown.
You know, actually, he's a clown.
So for me, I think that it's just like a one-time president of Hewlett Packard. He was asked, what is behind your success? Because his success is taking over dead companies and bringing them back to life. So he went into Hewlett Packard and he was asked, what are you going to do to turn around the fate? He said, first of all, I'll fire the manager of the company, the CEO. I'll take him out. And he asked why. He said, because if he was doing a good job, they wouldn't be in the...
So are you saying that for us to have confidence in this system, the energy sector, the communication sector too, that we should fire the
people that have made that are failing or have been failing us?
We will never have had ministers for petroleum or MD of NNPC.
What I'm saying,
we are having to live with the wrath in that sector.
So the point is there are people who can do a better job, because you talked about the Minister of State for Petroleum now. He talked about using drones to monitor pipelines and all. You said a lot of lofty things.
Yes.
Okay, and right now...
That one reminds me of a professor.
Now, they are now saying that it is vandalized pipelines that is the reason that we don't have petrol in Nigeria. So if the NNPC cannot monitor petrol pipelines, I'm talking about the one of crude now, just petrol, PMS, what is the confidence now that they can handle the pipelines that are going across Nigeria? So we're looking at all of this and looking at institutions. Really, they're not functioning.
Before we get out of track about the subject matter for this morning, which is the president supposed to sit down in Villa and run the system, or it's better for us to have him go over the whole world and tell the world that we'll have security issues, we'll have economic issues, we'll have social issues? Come help us. Kelechi.
Yeah. Again, we need to emphasize the importance of delegating functions, and through that we can build institutions.
Now, don't you think that the president is delegating responsibilities because he has ministers who are not traveling with him? So it might not be totally out of place for the president to say, Minister ABC, run this, let me go out and go and do other things, because these ministers will not go and attend Commonwealth heads of government meeting of the Commonwealth.
Or the vice president can do that.
Yeah, the vice president is trying to, it's actually the person who is in charge of the economy, because he's been presiding over budget meetings and all of those. So does it make sense?
It doesn't make sense. The president, it doesn't really make sense to me anyway. It's just my opinion.
It's a democratic right, really.
We are in a crisis in this country. This country is in a major crisis.
Number one is security.
The fact that it has to, take off, fly from your country, out of your country to another country, it gives the citizens a sense of abandonment. You know, as if you don't really care. That's the point. His presence, his physical presence. You know, it's like somebody who loses a mom or somebody dead to them. And they expect you to either just come and say, "Oh, my condolences," and you sit back in your house and you're sending money either in the village or in Lagos or Abuja. It can't be the same when you come, when they feel your presence and you're speaking to them about the loss or something. So that's what I'm saying. The fact that he's leaving the shores of this country when we're experiencing this level of hardship. Already people are talking about 1983 and all of that. That we back in 1983 when there was so much suffering. And just lately I've been another analysis from I think Daily Times or Business that Nigerians since 1999 Nigerians for the first time are becoming poorer. You understand? So it is not the security thing, but the fact that even the trips made so far is not reflect our livelihood on our nation.
That is going back to where we started when you said that the trips so far have not impacted. But I don't seem to agree. I don't think I want to agree with that position.
When you leave the country to go to Malta for a Commonwealth summit, okay, but for now there has to be some recalibration, with some readjustment. I don't think that it's just tripping and leaving what needs to be addressed back home here. The country won't be tripping if he goes to Malta and before he comes back will be overwhelmed by this energy crisis or the security crisis. Which country or which Nigeria will be returned to?
Okay, the program is Democracy in Action, and we're discussing the president's frequent trips. My guest this morning and our in-house analyst believe that the president ought to sit down here to inspire people and give the feeling that something is being done, and that his frequent trips makes it feel like we are being abandoned. We want you to be part of the discussion by calling on 0815-5951-951, 0815-5951-951, 0817-0000-951, 0817-0000-951, 0810-9510-951, 0810-950-951. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Solomon.
Okay, Solomon. Are you a wise one? How many wives do you have?
I have only one wife.
Why?
that is what my Bible told me to have.
No, I mean, Solomon came from the Bible. It wasn't from the Quran. From the Quran.
But that is the Old Testament. But the New Testament.
You see, you cannot remove or add to the Bible.
No, we don't add. We have to abide by the New Testament that Christ introduced to us.
I agree. Well, I'm saying that the Bible is incomplete if you remove the Old Testament.
Yes, I agree. But
so why will your name be Solomon and you have only one wife?
No, that is what that Christ told me to have.
Okay.
He is my leader.
Okay, so your leader is not President Buhari?
Buhari?
Yes. He's a national leader.
God is my leader.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, your contribution, please, this morning.
Well, my own contribution in this issue is this. I always say it to your in-house guest there, that if it is your turn, it will be this. If it is my turn, it will be our. We are all you see what this. Is it not the same? These are not the government, these are not the people that we are lambasting Goodluck. That Goodluck is running from year to year, flying from year to year, that is not sitting to address our problems. Now it's not their turn. They are not even more than flying more than Goodluck now. For under 6 months, we should look when Goodluck came in 6 months. How many travel does he make? How many travel that his ministers make? How many travel his deputy make? But our leader that will say Goodluck is a flamboyant president.
So, Solomon, what you're saying, you know, you're a wise man.
Yes.
What you're saying in summary, is it that President Goodluck Jonathan was blamed for traveling, or you're saying that these trips are unnecessary? Which one?
Look, he was blaming the past regime for a good foundation that he was building, that he should have built upon now, neglect now. And now we are not seeing any foundation that is built. Look at the state of our economy now. Look into the state of our economy now.
Okay, can you just take it down a little bit so that you don't? I can say you're angry. And as a wise man, you shouldn't show anger.
Because I don't like people. You want to be, you are a saint, meanwhile you are not a saint.
We're not there. That's what we were discussing this morning. Do you think there's anything to benefit from those trips or not?
My brother, so far so good. He has traveled America. I have never seen the benefit of this trip. Look, my brother, what all the road trips that Goodluck will live with his head dollars. At the end of the trip, they will analyze that this. That
means you agree that the troops are important. Maybe the problem you have now is that you have not seen the results so far, right? Thank you very much. You have a wonderful weekend. Hello. Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from America.
You say your name is what?
Akachi.
That's Hand of God.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you said your name is Hand of God, Abi?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay. I say that why not we put the record straight?
Okay. Call back, please, if you can. We lost you there, but I'd like to hear you. The Solomon the wise guy was talking about. Kelechi, are you hearing me?
Yes.
He was talking about the fact that maybe accusing the present government of hypocrisy because they are supposed to have blamed President Goodluck Jonathan for traveling too much. So the problem, the issue there is not that they are traveling, but for blaming President Goodluck when it was his time. But you see, let me just get a step away from that a bit and ask this. We'll have some callers. Hello. We lost that caller too. If we are talking about institutional building, where we don't have a one-man president, if the president has his vice president, which is vice president, and his ministers, does he need to sit down here for the system to work? Let's not even start speculating on whether there's a trickle-down effect on the trips or not. If we're talking about developing strong institutions, that's where government to run and not just one man. Is it not better, or rather, that it's not to be encouraged that the vice president should be seen to be running the government, the president is not there, and the ministers too?
What we talk about the government that is not communicating effectively. We're talking about the entire system, not President Buhari. And the vice president who is in charge of the economy, for me, in paper or in theory, of course, we've not seen that he's, practically on top of the situation. He runs from his own office as vice president and
just hold on, can I hold on, please? Yeah, hello. Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're coming from?
I'm Isaiah. I'm calling from Ulmuri.
Okay, Isaiah.
Yeah, please, something I want to say. Mr. President don't have any like to leave Nigeria travel. Number one, if you come to Ulmuri, thank people all the way from Milwaukee to Winnipeg. Truck block everywhere, and the money Mr. President is supposed to use to these people. Mr. President using it to enter private jet and going outside country. People are suffering at this country.
Okay, in summary, what you are saying that the president shouldn't travel, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The president is entering private jet, we're told. I have some information you don't have.
I don't know about
I think in principle, Nigerians are generally saying that the president should sit down. But I'm saying, shouldn't the president allow the system work by allowing his vice president and his ministers do their bit?
But you're not even seeing that. After the appointment of the ministers, I think they all went back to sleep or they are waiting for
approval.
So what they are actually waiting for.
Approval.
You know, the only voices we've heard are voices who still drag you back to thinking that we're still having a one-man rule. The likes of Minister Shitu.
So, I've begged people to not to discuss that, gentleman. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from, please?
It's Williams calling from Port Harcourt.
Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Your question or contribution?
Yes, my conclusion is this. As a journalist, you know quite well what you are passing through in this very country right now. And you're talking of the fuel, the bombing here and there, and every other thing that you are passing through in this country.
Okay.
And as a father, you cannot expect your wife to do what he's supposed to do. There are some demand that we need the father to do. There are some demand that the first one will do or the other person the family will do. The first president is supposed not to do what the president is supposed to do. We're not talking about Sambo. Whatever that is good law. They don't call Sambo. The president is the one that's voted for. And see what you are passing in this country. Every place is dried. Nothing is going on. Nothing like is going on. And since he conducts traveling from one place to the other, and they never make any statement in the country. Whenever you go there, you don't make no statement outside the country. Is he really ruling this country at Nigeria as a president, or is he going to start to tell our problems to other people? When he goes there, he will just make a comment, but never come to this country and make any comments about concern what is happening in the country. We never made any statement concern what is happening in this country. Never made any statement. When you go to Iraq, you don't say something. You go this way, something. Why? Is that why we elected him for?
Williams, you're saying that it's not that what the president is saying wrong, but it's just that the platform that he had decided to be communicating with us is not really wonderful. A while ago, PDP accused him of the marketing Nigeria. Right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
So what you're saying in essence that the president should come here and talk with us and communicate with us rather than talk to us from the outside.
Yes.
Okay.
I need to tell other people what is happening in the country. But what we that are in the country, we don't get anything from him.
In summary, the president should communicate with us.
Communicate with us, not to go and talk outside when you go.
Thank you very much, Williams. God bless you. Thank you very much. Obina, same story. Nigerians are not feeling that their government is communicating with them.
Well, you don't blame them. You look at a president.
Are they right to say that they're not being communicated with?
Nigerians are in the dark. Nigerians don't know what is happening in Nigeria.
Is that the president's responsibility or the media managers?
Let's even start from the president. Okay. With all of the fantastic things he said about institution building and all. You look at, I don't think he should remain in the country. I think if there's a need to travel, he needs to travel. If there's a need for him to be there.
I'm of that school too.
But if there are some places that you can send a delegate, all right, and it doesn't
like Commonwealth Heads of Government.
It's not the
Heads of Government meeting. That's from the meeting is attending now. It's Commonwealth Head of Government. Commonwealth meeting. Yeah.
If the president falls sick today, won't the vice president
attend the meeting?
But the president is not sick. The president is not sick. No, the president is not sick. It's a Commonwealth Heads of Government.
It doesn't mean let's not try to use that as an excuse, because what we've been hearing all over again, but not excuses for the president. Whatever he does that doesn't seem right. There's always one.
AKJ, see, we're agreed on one thing. We're agreed on one thing. The issue is that there isn't communication. For me, if you ask my personal opinion, I think the government is not communicating with us. If it's about the importance of those meetings, I think that they deserve the attention of the presence of the the president of this country, because I don't know how you want to rationalize it. You have any way you look at it. If, for example, you are maybe an MD of a company, and they're supposed to be a meeting of different companies, and then your company is there as MD, maybe you're the MD of their XYZ companies are there, MD. Then some company sends a head of department.
It's
an issue. But like I wanted to look at it from the point of what Obina is talking about. A situation where the president is not in the country. That should not stop us from knowing what is happening in the country. There is a vice president who should communicate with us. There is a minister for information who should communicate with us. We have the special advisor who should be communicating with us. So when they are not doing that, it simply means that everybody is waiting for the president to do everything. Is that what we want?
I don't think that's what Nigerians want. But you know, we need to put this conversation in context. We need to put it in the present context. You know, that we found ourselves. Just you know, early this month, when 2 weeks back, when we had the Paris shooting and all that, President Hollande had to, you know, cut short the street to the G20 summit. And that's a very important, very crucial kind of meeting that he was supposed to attend. But because of the crisis, you know, because of the emergency in his country, in France, he had to, you know, boycott that meeting. And you know, he sat back in his country and coordinated, you know, the response of the French government against ISIS. So that's what we're saying. Okay. You know, the president needs to, the government is still, you know, incubating. So he needs to drive it. And we need him to drive it more at home. Yeah.
Okay. You should be
let me just make this simple analogy. When Obasanjo was president, you could see a very visible vice president in the article when you say somebody is running in charge of an economy or whatever function was given to vice president article at that time. Apart from Jonathan, when when Yar'Adua was president, Jonathan was not that visible. But when Jonathan became president, you could see that Vice President Tambo was really functioning. You know? But for now, Vice President Osibanjo is not in the picture, so we can't be claiming
I don't think I want to agree with that in a hurry. I don't think I want to agree with that in a hurry, because the bit I know is that outside of what's his name, Vice President Atiku, the next vice president I think that's operating at that level is Vice President Shibanjo.
And also to add
because to start with, his presiding is involved in and very much in charge of the budget process and all of those. But I think that basically the problem is that we're not communicating. But before we go on, let's just read a couple of text messages from our listeners. Dan Nande from Agbai Ndoki. Every government has an agenda, expecting to meet the people's yearnings. PMB, I suppose, is President Muhammadu Buhari, has to establish his government. For instance, before now, Nigerian foreign image was in the mood. Whatever that is.
I think Modi was saying.
Yeah, well, again, there is need to open windows for external investors to boost our economy. In short, we complain too much. After all, Obasanjo almost lived in the oh no. Jonathan traveled wide, so why this worry? That's Dan Nande from Agbai Mdoki. Solo from Abua says, Solo, to attend international meeting is good, but for PMB and the junior minister at this crisis period, PMB, your house on fire. Oh no. Okay. What we were talking about before, the president out, the man in charge of the energy sector out too. So who are we going to? I think it was somebody who said, if you ask me, now who I will ask?
Definitely.
Okay. You know that song?
Yeah.
Okay. There is good morning, sir. Mr. President is not doing good to the promise of change that was promised to Nigerian people. If only we reduce his trips and he sits in his office to do some of the office work, things will go in a better direction. Thank you. My name is Bronson PMB travels let me try and see if I can get around. The PNB travels do not only lead to dereliction of duty, but also his health capacity can't carry it. Obama met economic meltdown but hardly travels. Jerry from Irebe. He equally says, when you go home for the weekend and resume duty on the Monday, you find it difficult to adjust for the work, not to talk of globe-trotting, and still cope with nation building. What Jerry is saying here is that by the time the president travels, jet lag and all of that, he comes back, it will take time for him to tune into the rhythm of running the country. Okay. Now, Happiness, I from Ogoni. I want beg una make una follow me look inside this matter. One old woman buy land. Okay.
I don't think that's what we're talking about.
That's incidental. I don't think it's part of our discussion this morning. When you go home for the weekend, the same. So there's a mixed bag of issues here.
Well, all of the things I've said today. Okay, I said them to say this. Basically, if as a leader, you from before you were given the responsibility to lead, don't have plans, or maybe your plans are not 100% excellent. Okay, on building institutions, or you don't even have confidence in the people that you have employed, right, to lead the various institutions, then there is a problem. Because the way I'm seeing Nigeria now is either the president does not have confidence, or the people that have been put in these places don't have confidence in themselves, or there's a system of government that we are not used to that will require the heads of these various institutions to report back to the presidency before any final decision is taken. Because look at everything that's happening in Nigeria now. It's like Nigeria is on pause. So until the president comes back, things will begin to move. It's happened like twice now. Looking at the various times he's traveled out of the country, the whole nation will look like we just have to wait for the president to come.
Okay.
And for me, that is not a right way to run a nation.
Hello? We lost that. Kelechi?
Yeah.
When the president travels, we're on a pause. True?
I agree with colleagues, that once the president leaves the country, we're in a pause. Sometimes we even retrogress, then that translates into not building institutions and not delegating responsibilities enough and give people maybe targets and timelines to deliver on their campaign promises or the agenda for governance. You understand?
Okay.
So if there is a roadmap already and the ministers have their roles to play or responsibilities to carry out, we won't be having this kind of
Don't you think we are being too hasty? Because these ministers are less than 1 month only in office, and you think it should be a seamless kind of transition. They should have some time to study their ministry and study their gifts.
You know the reason they gave. They told us that they were, setting the table for the ministers to come and not eat but work on, have things to work on.
Okay. Okay, what we call it that? Sorry, hold on, Kelechi, what we call it that? Hello, good morning.
Hello, very confusing with Richard.
Okay. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Okay. Your question or contribution? I know it's a contribution. I trust you to say something great. Go ahead.
Actually, I was just discussing a similar problem with a colleague of mine, and I've always been saying this. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with us as a people. And when I say us, I'm not just talking Nigeria now, I'm talking about Africa. I think there's something fundamentally wrong. And we keep thinking it's a leadership problem. The leadership angle is just a symptom of the general problem that we suffer as a collective. And I think that problem has to do with our inability to understand how things work. When you listen to us talk, it's as if we know what the issues are. But every time, and let me say this, there's really no significant difference between one country in Africa from the other. There's no big difference between Nigeria and South Africa. There's no big difference between Nigeria and Ghana. Yes, there may be little differences in terms of the economic indices, but the truth remains that the fundamental social issues are the same. And I've been asking this question, and I seem not to be finding the answer, and I think it has to do with the mind. See, there's something going on in this country that nobody is telling us. It's not about the president traveling, what is right, the morality of his speech. I think it's about how we do things. How is it that a president can travel and then the vice cannot continue? How is it that a president can travel and there is no technique, upon which the government operates? So if the president travels, the government is put on hold until he comes back before governance continues. This same thing replicated itself during Yar'Adua's time. This same thing to a lesser extent replicated itself when Jonathan was also around. These things keep happening, and the generality of Nigerians seem aloof. We seem not to order enough. Yes, we talk about it here and there, but we talk about these things as gossip. We don't talk about them as if we are paid. We don't talk about them as if our lives depend on it. And that's
what we rather do is we personalize them. That's what we do. We just personalize them instead of looking at it as a national problem.
Exactly. Just before this particular program, I was listening to another program where they were discussing the poor problem and the poor crisis, and they were talking about it as if it's a lecture. They were talking about it as if someone is taking lead and just you don't see the pain, you don't see this desire for us to bring about change. And I think it's not a leadership thing. It's a people thing. It's a black man's thing, and I can't just understand it.
You're getting angry now. You're getting very angry. Voice of reason. And it's a weekend, so I would advise you just take a chill pill, okay?
Because of the way this thing is, because of the way it has consistently changed me over the years. I'm not saying this now, it's because it's now. This has always been my thing.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Thanks a lot. We're running out of time. Thank you very much. For you listeners out there, you have a role to play in this. Stand firm, stand up and be counted. Do not feel intimidated. Say what you think is right for the community. Speak your mind at all times. Let your conscience rule you. And I'm sure you'll never get it wrong. You have a pleasant, wonderful weekend. My name is Kingsley Wenendawali. Bye-bye.